Hey guys, Shadow Reviewer here. Well, sorry it took so damn long, but editing this damn thing was 7.5 hours. Yeah, I'm not even kidding, it's taking this goddamn long. So, here we are, my first official Squid Game video. And I might as well talk about which 2025 protagonist would win Squid Game. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to be combining all of the games from the entire show. Not just season 1, not even season 2, not even the final season, all of them. So that's 12 freaking games. I'm not even joking. I just thought I'd go the extra mile. But I'm going to be changing things a little bit. Okay, so here are the rules. No allies or sidekicks. No ice-armed weapons unless summoned naturally. No magic unless performed naturally. But of course, natural abilities are allowed. So, let's look at the 118 contestants that will be entering this game. Blake Lowe from the Wolfman remake, Iris from Companion, Ali and Jay from Hot Eyes, Bridget Jones from Bridget Jones Mad About the Boy, Hal and Bill from The Monkey, Jane and Michael Darling from Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, Mickey 17 and 18 from Mickey 17, Plankton from the Plankton movie, Catherine and George from Black Bag, Levin Cade from A Working Man, Dogman from Dogman, Elliot and Ridley from Death of a Unicorn, Nathan Kane from Novocaine, Violet from Drop, Matt and Emily from Back in Action, Clover, Max, Nina, Megan, and Abe from Until Dawn, all of the Thunderbolts from Thunderbolts, Quinn and Glenn from Clown in a Cornfield, Selena from Screamboat, Stephanie and Charlie from Final Destination Bloodlines, Laurie Granger from Fear Street Prom Queen, Lilo and Stitch from the Lilo and Stitch remake, Junan and Jay from Lost in Starlight, Andy and Piper from Bring Her Back, Daniel, Mr. Han and Lee from Karate Kid Legends, Eve from the World of John Wick Ballerina, Snow White from the Snow White remake, Urza, Kenji and Torres from Predator Killer of Killers, Spike from 28 Years Later, Megan from Megan 2.0, Zola from Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman from Superman, Rumi, Mir, and Zoe from K-Pop Demon Hunters, Ava and Julie James from I Know What You Did Last Summer Requel, Zanya and Benji from Bambi the Reckoning, Reed, the Fantastic Four from the Fantastic Four, Tess, Anna, Harper, and Lily from Freaky Friday, Archer and Justine from Weapons, Elizabeth, Ron, Abraham, and Joyce from the Thursday Motor Club, Garantine and Pete from The Long Walk, the Bad Guys from The Bad Guys, Cam Cade from Him, Smoke and Stag from Sinners, Finn and Gwen from The Black Phone 2, Gabriel, Jeff, and Jay from Good Fortune, Victor Frankenstein from Frankenstein, Deck and Thea from Predator Badlands, Ben Ridges from The Running Man, Galinda and Alphaba from Wicked for Good, Bisha from The Twits, Ramona, Taylor, and Annie from The Woman in the Yard, Bentwan Blanc from Wake Up Dead Man and Knives Out Mystery, Stevie and Elliot from In Your Dreams, Mike and Abby from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Billy Chapman from the Silent Night Deadly Night remake, CW from Influences, Dracula from A Dracula Love Tale, Laura from Woman in Cabin 10, Doug, Griff, Kenny, and Claire from the Anaconda remake, and lastly, SpongeBob SquarePants from the SpongeBob SquarePants, the SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants. So, with all of them in there, let's look at the first round. Round 1, red light, green light. You need to cross the line in the allotted time. Stay still during red lights and move during green lights. If your movement is detected afterwards, you are out. So, pretty much, staying focused, listening to instructions, and keeping calm under pressure is the way to win. And the ones that stay calm under pressure are Iris, Catherine, George, Levin, Matt, Emily, Yelena, Alexi, Barky, Bob, Eva, Glenn, Daniel, Mr. Han, Lee, Eve, Kenji, Torres, Spike, Megan, Zola, all 3 members of the Huntrix, all 4 members of the Fantastic Four, Justine, all 4 members of the Thursday Motor Club, Mr. Wolf, Miss Tarantia, Diane, Cam, Finn, Gwen, Deck, Thea, Ben Richards, Ben Blanc, CW, and Laura are able to stay calm and focused. Now the ones who are good listeners, Superman, Xenia, Dracula, and SpongeBob are able to listen requiring it. And the ones who would stay calm under the pressure would be Blake Lowe, Allie, Jay, Hal, Wendy, Michael, Elliot, Ridley, Nathan Kane, Violet, Quinn, Stephanie, Charlie, Junan, Jay, Andy, Piper, Eva, Julie, James, Benji, Harper, Lily, Anna, Tess, Guarantee, and Pete would be able to be the ones to stay calm under the pressure if quite means. Same with Mr. Shark, the Moore twins. Gabriel can keep AJ under pressure. Galinda and Alphaba will be able to keep an eye for each other. Bisha will be able to protect herself. Taylor and Annie can keep the Zels together alongside Steve. And of course Mike would try and protect Abby. Now let's certainly look to the ones who aren't so lucky. And these are the ones that would panic the most. Bridget Jones, or Clover and her friends, Snow White, Mr. Piranha, Jeff, and of course Doug, Griff, and Kenny would sadly crack under the pressure, try and run back for the door, and get themselves killed. Players, you are eliminated. Now, these are the ones who aren't exactly the greatest listeners, that being Hal's brother Bill, Mickey 18, Dogman, John Walker. They probably think the rules don't apply to them getting themselves killed. Lilo and Stitch would have a hard time standing still and not listening. Ursha pretty much thinks that the rules don't apply to her either, and as for Stevie, well, given he doesn't listen to his sister, fair to say, they're goners. Player, you are eliminated. And for the two characters are pretty damn slow. Ramona would be too slow given that she had to use crutches in order to walk. And as for Plankton, given that the character is so damn small, he would probably be crushed before he reaches the finish line. Players, you are eliminated. Now just down to 95 players. Let's move on to round 2. Honeycomb. Stay calm under pressure and have steady hands. You crack the cookie, you're out. So pretty much, having steady hands, patience, and focus will be the ways to win in this game. It's in this game. And the ones who would have really good steady hands would be Iris, Glenn, because he's a doctor, Junon and Jay, given that one's an astronaut and the one is a musician. Of course, all 3 members of the karate standards will be fine, given they would have really good hands in order to learn karate or kung fu. Eve, being an assassin, would easily know to have steady hands. Torres, being a mechanic. Megan, being a robot who would know when to start and stop. Zola, given that she's a doctor. The K-pop Demon Hunters, given they write their own songs, and of course, being absolutely good steady hands. The Fantastic Four work with each other can easily help in the situation. Dr. Frankenstein, given that he's a scientist who literally created a human body with his own hands, would easily pass. Thea, even though she's only half android, is able to fix herself up, so no problems. Ben Richards, being able to stay alive for so long, would have to know how to use his hands. Alphaba, learning magic from the book, would know how to use her hands very well. Abby, being creating her own robot in the second movie, easy done. CW, knowing how to use a phone, and also being able to be sneaky about it. And of course, SpongeBob being a cook. Now, for the ones who would be, of course, patient, Levin, being able to stand perfectly still using his hands would be fine. Good patience. Justine, being able to deal with the townsfolk blaming her for the disappearance, that takes a lot of patience. Diane, being absolutely smart. And while Galinda might have some little level of patience, she is patient enough to try and probably follow Alphaba. Benoit Bach, being the most patient character, would probably just wait around and try and figure out the cutters inside with the cookie, but wouldn't take too long. Billy Chapman, given that he's been on a killing spree ever since he was a child, would know a lot of patience. And as for Dracula, the guy's been dead for centuries. He definitely has the most patience. And lastly, the ones who would have the most focus. Stephanie being able to focus about Death's design, Spike being the focus on how to take out zombies for a lifetime, Superman using his laser vision and speed, can easily cut out the cookie when required. Finn and Gwen can help each other given they have the most focus. Gabriel, being the absolute most patient, will be able to cut out the cookie when required. Mike, being able to outthought the animatronic with no good focus. And lastly, Laura, being able to study her own investigation of the disappearance of the woman in Cabin 10. So, yeah, these guys have the most pressure. Unfortunately, there are four characters that sadly will not be passing. And the three that pretty much would get frustrated the most. Blake Loud, given that he's half werewolf, will probably just crack under pressure and break his cookie in frustration. Alexei would probably get too excited and break his cookie by accident. And for Cam, well, given he's a football player, he'll probably want to understand what it means to be patient. So sadly, they have to go. Players, you are eliminated. And sadly, the only character that doesn't have hands, Mr. Snake. I mean, there's no way for you to survive, pal. I mean, you've got one appendage. Sorry. Player, you are eliminated. Now down to 91 players. Let's move on to round 3. 6-legged pentathlon. Get into a group of 5 and work together. If you don't work together, you and your team are out. So pretty much, each team member has to play a different game, and you have to try and work. What are your strengths and weaknesses? So pretty much, teamwork makes the dream work. So let's look into the teams. Team 1, we have Ali, Jay, Catherine, George, and Nathan Kang. 2 which being spies, and 2 being a romantic couple, they would know what teamwork works. And as for Nathan K, why he team up with them, given his smarts, he would be an asset to the team. Team 2, we have Wendy and Michael Darling, Elliot and Ridley, and Violet. Of course, one being a father-daughter duo and the other being a brother-sister duo, and Violet, well, given their loved one's home, they would all instantly work together, given their understanding. Team 3, we have Levin, Matt, Emily, Junan, and Jay. One being a married couple, one being a literal couple, and one being, well, a family man. Of course, given their understandings, they would know one's strengths and one's weaknesses. Team 4, we have Yelena, Bucky, Bob, Eva, and Superman. They're all superheroes, so given their superhero statuses, they can easily work together. Next team, we have Quinn and Glenn alongside Stephanie and Charlie, and teaming up with Stevie. Given that Stevie is much more mature for her age, she would instantly want to team up with the brother and sister duo and the father and daughter duo. I mean, given that, well, her parents, it makes sense why she would team up with them. Next up, we have Daniel, Mr. Han Lee, teaming up, of course, with Kenji and Torres. Given that Kenji understands the karate trio, given, well, kung fu and karate. I mean, it is Japanese. And why would Torres team up with them? Kenji trusts him, and they would ask him that they would be okay with Torres teaming up with them. Next up, we have Spike, Megan, Benji, with Garrity and Pete. I understand Garrity and Pete teaming up. I mean, they are a duo after all. And given the 2 younger protege they team up with, one being a literal killer, it makes sense why he would team up with them. And as for Megan, well, she would probably lead the team, given that she's the only non-human character on the team. Next up, we have Zola, Xenia, the Moore twins, and Benoit Blanc. Now, Ben Blanc would probably be the one that being the brains of the operation, while Zola being the strength. Of course, the Moore twins would easily team, given the brains and the brawn. And as for Xenia, her motherly instincts. She wanted to see if her son can succeed. Next up, we have Diana, Mr. Wolf, and the Huntrix trio. Now, of course, Mr. Wolf and Diane would have no problem teaming up, given they hooked up at the end of the sequel. And given their passion for fans and, well, just good, and seeing the good in them, Huntrix would ask Mr. Wolf and Diane to team up with them. Next up, we have the Fantastic Four teaming up with Dec. Given Ben's understanding of non-human creatures, they would give Dec a chance to team up with them. Next up, we have Gabriel teaming up with Harper, Lily, Tess, and Anna. Even though they would panic at first, Gabriel would be the one to be the leader to try and get them all to calm down and work together. And given these four working together so well, they would easily pass. Next up, we have the Thursday Murder Club trio teaming up with Thea. Even though they can see she's an android, they see she has a good heart, and given that Dex teamed up with the Fantastic Four, they give her a chance given that she be the brains, and them would combine their intelligence to team up. Next up, we have Andy and Piper teaming up with Finn and Gwen, and Ben Richards being the fatherly figure all the younger ones need. So, of course, he'd be the leader to try and get these kids to make sure they get home to their families. Next up, we have the younger players, Abby, Taylor, and Annie, looking up to Alphaba and Galinda, given they're probably the adult ones in the group. So, given Alphaba's brains and Galinda's charm, they can easily pass as long as Taylor, Annie, and Abby can help in capacities. And the last team we have Bisha. We have Laura and Mike being the adult ones here, alongside with Claire, trying to teach the younger player, that being Bisha and SpongeBob, how to work together as a team. Bisha would be hesitant at first, but given the adults here, she would have no choice but to team up with them. And as for SpongeBob, well, he will listen to anyone. I mean, it's the guy. Now, sadly, there are those who just refuse to don't team up. And first we have the loners. Iris, Hal, Evie, AJ, Victor Frankenstein, and Dracula. They're the loners, and, well, given that these guys wouldn't dream of teaming up with the other, they sadly have to go. Player, you are eliminated. Then we have the 2-for-1s that sadly wouldn't be able to work with others in a capacity. That being Ava, Julie James, Archer, and Justine. Players, you are eliminated. And lastly, the ones that people wouldn't think twice about trusting. Mr. Shark, given he's a shark. Miss Tarantula, because he's a spider. And given they're two members of the bad guys. Billy Chapman, I mean, look at him. I mean, he looks like a psycho. Same with CW. I mean, she would probably try and backstab anyone the least she expected. I mean, the chick works alone. And given this face, I don't think anyone would trust you. Players, you are eliminated. Now down to 77 players. Let's move on to round 4. Bingo. You stand in a large circular room and a number will be called, and you have to get into a room with the correct number. If you don't do that in time, you're out. So pretty much, ruthlessness and, well, survival are your best ways to go, but mostly ruthlessness. And these are the characters that would pretty much be, well, the survivors. Catherine, George, Levin, Nathan Kane, Matt, Emily, Bucky, Bob, Eva, Torres, Zola, Superman, the Fantastic Four, all 5 members of the Freaky Friday group, Garrett, Pete, Mr. Wolf, Diane, Finn and Gwen, Thea, Mont Blanc, Laura, and SpongeBob. They would easily try and secure a room for themselves if it was required. And for the ones that would be left to safety, that being Allie, Ridley, Quinn, Charlie, Jay, Daniel, Lee, Benji, Elizabeth, Abraham, Glinda, Annie, Abby, Michael Darling, and Piper would be the ones be left to safety by their significant others. And then sadly look at the ones who would probably sacrifice themselves the most. Jay would probably sacrifice himself to save Allie. Wendy would sacrifice herself to save her little brother Michael. Elliot would try and save his daughter Ridley. Violet would probably try and see the other players and try and make sure they secure a rule for themselves. Danielle would sacrifice herself for Bob. Glenn would sacrifice himself to save his daughter Quinn. Stephanie would make sure her brother Charlie survived. Juna would make sure that Jay survived. Mr. Han will make sure that Daniel and Lee stay together. Xenia would sacrifice her for her son Benji. Alphaba will make sure that Glinda survives, despite Glinda's protestations. Taylor would make sure that his sister Annie was safe. Mike would make sure that Abby stayed safe. And Andy, even though he barely takes care of his sister, would make sure that Piper stayed safe. Players, you are eliminated. But sadly, there are ones who are just too slow and wouldn't be able to, that didn't make it in the door on time. That being Mickey17, Laurie Granger, Ron and Joyce, Gabriel, Bisha, and Stevie. They're either too slow or got accidentally killed and trampled to death in the process. Players, you are eliminated. Now we're down to 56 players. Let's move. Congratulations on making it this far. I'm legit surprised you're still here. Now it's time to get some sleep. Lights out. Unfortunately, nobody will be getting lights out, because it's pretty much the midnight brawl. It's either fight to hand-to-hand combat, or you hide. And these are the ones who would easily fight. That'd be Catherine, George, Levin, Nathan, Kane. Even though he can't feel anything, he would still last surprisingly long. Matt and Emily would easily team up to take down a couple of players. Bucky, Bob, and Ava would team up despite the differences. Daniel and Lee can easily team up with karate. Kenji would probably kill a couple of players given his ruthlessness. Spike would probably try and knife a couple of players before finally taking them out. Megan would kill without even thinking. Superman can easily just fight them off without killing them. I mean, he is the peacekeeper. Huntrix would easily look out for each other while taking out a couple of players. The Fantastic Four would probably just knock out a few players, but without killing them. Diane can easily use her head-to-head combat skills. Smoke can easily just shoot a couple if required, or shoot a couple if possible. Dad can easily just kill without a second thought. Ben Richards will probably just knock a couple of players. And SpongeBob, well, given in one episode of the SpongeBob cartoon that one guy tried to beat him up, but it didn't affect him, I think SpongeBob would surprisingly be okay. And now, for the ones that would hide. Michael would surprisingly be a decent hider. Same with Ridley. In fact, I think they look out for each other. Torres would be a surprisingly good hider. Same with Benji. He would probably get him with Benji. Harper and Lily might not be the greatest hiders, but they would be hidden, given the two players that didn't. Mr. Wolf obviously would be a great hire. I mean, he is a bad guy after all. Finn and Gwen would probably protect each other while trying to hide. Thea would be a decent hider, given that, well, she is cut in half. Benoit Blanc would be a really good hider. I mean, he can hide in the shadows and nobody would think twice. Abby is a really good hider. Same with Zola and Allie. Given these two would probably be the most likely to not survive, but given their statuses, would be smart enough to hide. Now let's sadly look at the players that would sadly get caught in the crossfire. That being Quinn, Charlie, Jay, Piper, given that she's blind and probably won't even know what's going on. Sorry, sweetheart. Tess and Anna would actually sacrifice themselves to make sure their daughters/granddaughters would survive. Abraham and Elizabeth would sadly get caught in the crossfire. Glinda would try and pick a fight, but sadly lose. They lose, but sadly get caught in the crossfire too. Annie wouldn't know how to hide, given that both her mother and her brother are dead, and she would probably just freak out and get herself killed. Laura is not exactly the greatest hider or tried to fight, given, well, she was caught multiple times, and she would probably just get killed by accident. And lastly, Claire. Yeah, she would try and pick fights, but sadly wouldn't survive them. Players, you are eliminated. But sadly, the one that would pick a fight almost immediately would be Stack, and he failed miserably. Player, you are eliminated. Now we're down to 43 players. Let's move on to round 6, Tug of War. Dun. You will team up with people and be the last team standing. If you're weak or don't work in a team, you're out. So yeah, pretty much for this one, teamwork and strength will be, well, your strengths. Your strengths. And here are the ones that would easily work in teams. Allie, even though she just lost Jay 2 games ago, would be smart enough to keep her composure and listen to others. Catherine and George would easily work together. Levon would easily team up with them. Ridley would team up with Allie. Daniel and Lee obviously work together so well. Torres would be a good listener. Spike, despite being more of a loner, is surprisingly good with strength. Megan is a super robot, so she has the advantage. Zola worked well on a team. Huntrix and Fantasy 4 work together as a team. Garrett and P would work on their strength and brains. Mr. Wolf and Diane would easily team up, given that the 2 members of the bad guys left. Smoke, while may have lost his brother in the last round, can easily work with others if the situation calls for it. Finn and Gwen would obviously team up well. Thea, despite being, well, half an android, would surprisingly work with others if she uses the last ounce of her strength. Ben Richards is surprisingly strong. Benoit Blanc is smart and would actually be a good leader. And lastly, Abby would surprisingly work well with teams if the situation calls for it. And here are the ones with later, Hopper and Lily easily work together in a team. SpongeBob is a good listener, and Dick has really good strength. And here are the ones with absolute knowledge strength. Matt and Emily, 2 work better than 1. Bucky with a super arm would easily out. Bob is surprisingly strong, but he would work well with others. Even with surprisingly strong, would work well with others. Kenji is surprisingly strong, and of course, Superman. The guy literally lifts buildings with the tip of his finger. I think he passes as one with flying colors. And this sadly leaves the 3 players who are eliminated here. Michael is pretty weak, and without his sister, he's pretty much a goner. Nathan Cave literally can't feel anything, so he doesn't know if he's pulling the rope or not. And Benji, well, given his mother isn't around, he's pretty weak. So yeah, these are 3 that are gone in this round. Players, you are eliminated. Now we're just down to 40 players. Let's move on to the next round. Round 7, Hide or Seek. You'll be split into 2 teams. Hiders blue and Seekers red. Seekers can't hunt each other. Seekers have to kill hunters or you're out. Hiders can either fight or survive until time is up. So yeah, here is where I'm going to get interesting. I'm actually going to follow the rules with this one and split the group into 2 separate teams. For the hiders, we have Ridley, Emily, Eva, Daniel, Torres, Spike, Zola, Mira, Zoe, Sue Storm, Harper, Lily, Mr. Wolf, Gwen, Thea, Ben Richards, Benoit Blanc, Abby, and SpongeBob SquarePants. For the Seekers, we have Allie, Catherine, George, Levin Cade, Matt, Bucky Barnes, Bob, Lee, Kenji, Megan, Superman, Rumi, Reed Richards, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, Diane, Geraldine, Pete, Smoke, Finn, and Deke. And let's look at the ones they can easily hide when hide when they need to. Ridley would be a surprisingly good hider. I mean, she's able to hide from this unicorn. Emily would probably take out at least one player if the situation calls for it and knock them out and run. Eva would just use her invisibility to sneak away until time was up. And yeah, I did say natural abilities are allowed, so she can easily do that. Daniel can easily just knock a seeker out with these karate moves, or hell, he could probably just do the crane technique, for all he knows. Torres can easily surprisingly hide if he needs to. Spike is a really good hider, and he will probably just kill his opponent if he needs to. Zola would be a good hider, given she was able to hide from dinosaurs. Mira and Zoe can easily hide with each other, but also have each other's back when needed to. Hey, they did say hiders. They didn't say hiders can't team up. Sue, like Ava, would easily just phase out if she needed to. Mr. Wolf, surprisingly good hider. Nobody can catch this guy. Gwen, given her psychic powers, would easily tell if someone's coming and wait it out. Thea can surprisingly hide well. Ben Richards, he is a really good hider, given he was able to, well, win the Running Man tournament. Benoit Blanc, like I said, he can hide in the shadows so well no one would think twice. Abby can surprisingly hide. And SpongeBob, well, like I said, he passed the Midnight Brawl, given, well, nobody can physically hurt him. Now we got the Seekers. Catherine and George can easily just team up to kill another unassuming player. Levin could do the same. Same with Matt, although seeing that Emily's on the other team, he would not hurt his wife. Bucky can easily kill without hesitating. Hell, he'll probably team up with Bob. Hey, they say Seekers can't team up either. Lee can easily just take his opponent, kill his opponent if he needs to. Same with Kenji. Megan would kill without the second thought. Superman can easily kill his opponent if he needs to, seeing them as a threat. Rumi can easily kill her opponent if she needs to. Same with Reed, Johnny, and Ben. They can easily kill their opponents if they need to. Same with Diane, Smoke, and Deke. They can easily kill their opponents if they need to. And let's look at the two players who would be caught in the crossfire. Hell, I would think Catherine and George killed these two. They are not good hiders. Players, you are eliminated. And these are the four Seekers that would never think to kill. I mean, Allie would probably kill, but fail miserably, getting herself killed. Guarantee and P are not the killing types, so they'll probably get themselves killed. And Finn would never try to hurt his sister, so he'll probably give himself up, getting himself killed. Players, you are eliminated. Now we're just down to 36 players. Let's move on to round 8. Marbles. You will partner with somebody and take all 10 of their marbles. You can play either by luck, skill, or manipulation. Whoever loses is out. So let's look at the team ups here. First up, we have Catherine versus George. Husband and wife. They could have not easily picked each other if they could, but sadly one of them has to go. And given the other two, George would probably sacrifice himself to save his wife. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Matt versus Emily. Same similar situation, but I think out of the two, Matt would never think to trick wife into giving away her marbles. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Daniel versus Lee. Given that Lee is pretty much a young apprentice, Daniel would probably trick Lee into taking away his marbles to make sure the kid lives. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Rumi versus Mira. And yeah, it's pretty hard to say in terms of skill. Same with Daniel. Mira would probably trick Rumi into taking her marbles. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Reed versus Sue. And Rhea could easily outsmart Sue if she could, but thinking about their son back home, he would probably just tell her, make sure you win for our son. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Johnny versus Ben. And I think out of the two, Johnny would probably trick Ben, but given his good-natured heart, he would probably just forfeit and just give Ben all of his marbles. Player, you are all eliminated. Next up, we have Mr. Wolf versus Diane. And yeah, given their love for each other, Mr. Wolf would probably... Diane will probably just trick Mr. Wolf into giving her marbles. But given the game, Mr. Wolf probably already tricked himself. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Dick versus Thea. And even though Dick can be ridiculously hard, Thea would probably outsmart him in a game of skill. Either that or Dick sacrifices himself. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Gwen versus Megan. And yeah, out of the two, given that Gwen looks exactly like Katie, I think Megan wouldn't think twice about hurting her. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Zola versus Smoke. And even though Smoke would probably want to give up his marbles, Zola's way too smart for her to figure that out. So she'll probably outsmart him in terms of skill and luck. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Spike versus Abby. And given Abby's small stature and Spike being the mature one, Spike would probably just give up the game and let Abby move on. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Levin versus Ben Richards. And while Levin may be a little smarter, Richards has got this down pretty damn easily, being the smartest out of the two. He'll probably outsmart Levin, and Levin wouldn't think twice. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Ridley versus Zoe. Now, you would think Zoe would be the one to lose, right? Surprisingly, no. Ridley's just given up at this point, given the death and destruction everywhere. And given that, well, she's been miserable ever since her father sacrificed himself for her, I think she would probably just give up and let Zoe take the win. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Kenji versus Bucky. And yeah, out of the three, Kenji's just a little smarter. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Torres versus Bob. And while Bob may be a lot smarter than he looks, given Torres' situation, Bob would probably just sacrifice himself to make sure that Torres moves on. Player, you are eliminated. Next up, we have Ava versus Superman. And while Ava would probably want to be done with this game, Superman is way too kind-hearted to beat her at a sheer spite. He would probably just trick her into taking away his marbles. Player, you are eliminated. And lastly, we have Benoit Blanc versus SpongeBob. Yeah, I think it's pretty damn obvious who wins in this game. Player, you are eliminated. Yeah, there's no explanation. It's freaking obvious. SpongeBob has the mind of a child. Benoit Blanc is a detective. What more do you need? Now just down to 17 players. Let's move on to round 9. Glass Stepping Stones. Glass Stepping Stones. Try going last. That's the only way to survive. Yeah, that's pretty much all I need to say. The only way to win is just to go last. I mean, it's the only way to win. And man, jeez. So, here are the ones that would obviously survive the most. I mean, Catherine being a spy would know which glass panes are okay to step on. Kenji is literally a ninja. I mean, yeah. Zola would probably use her brains to try and figure this out. Diane would be careful and smart. Gwen would use her psychic powers. Thea would use her smarts. Ben can figure it out by watching other people. Emily, same reason as Catherine. Ava could easily just phase out when she needs to in order to figure out which glass panel goes where. Sue Storm can do the same. Ben could easily tap on the glass and tempered glass to figure out which is which. And as for Zoe, well, given her multiple outcome strategies, given that she's, well, come up with multiple ideas, I think she would try to do the same with the glass stepping stones. And here are sadly the players that will not be moving on. Starting with the ones with the biggest egos. First to go is Lee. Given that 2 of his mentors are gone, he's lost it at this point. And given that he's the biggest ego in the room, he would try and go for number 1 and die on the first go. Ben would be the same. Given that his 2 best friends are gone, he'll probably just try and go for like the middle number and easily fall. Players, you are eliminated. Let's look at the 2 that will probably sacrifice themselves to make sure. Vaughn, Rumi would try and make sure that Zoe got safely, and Abby would try and stop Lee from getting everyone else killed, pushing him off the bridge, sacrificing herself in the process. Player, you are eliminated. And sadly, the last to go is Torres. Player, you are eliminated. He would just probably pick a middle number and pick the wrong one. Whoops. Now just down to 12 players. Let's move on to round 10. Jump rope. Jump over the rope and get to the other side. But do it quickly because the rope will get faster and faster. You fall, you are out. So pretty much speed and timing are your only companions here. Let's look at the speedy characters. Kenji can easily pass this, given he's a ninja. Zoe can easily pass this, given her ability as a demon hunter. Sue Storm can easily just phase through it if she needs to. While trying to help younger players, who we'll get into in a bit. And Ben Richards can easily just jump when he needs to, knowing the ins and outs by watching other people. And here's the other ones that easily just time their jumps. Sue Storm will probably help Gwen get across with no problem, even with the psychic powers. Catherine and Emily can easily team up to help each other. Zola can easily jump forward and know when to stop and start. And Diane will probably just use her thieving moves to jump across. Here are sadly 2 characters that will probably just easily have piss poor timing. And that's both Eva and Thea. Eva would probably just phase in on out and accidentally fall off, and Thea, well, given her disadvantage, given that she's only got the upper half of her body, she would easily fall hands down. Players, you are eliminated. And unfortunately, Benoit Blanc is the last to die in this game, given, well, not everything moves in the same position. You would have to think quickly on your feet, and I don't think Benoit Blanc can easily figure that out. Player, you are eliminated. Now it's down to 9 players. Let's move on to round 11. Squid Game. Team up with someone to survive or kill. You fall off the edge, you are out. So yeah, pretty much here. You press the button to move on to the next tower, and if you do that on the last tower, you easily move on to the final round. The only way to succeed in this, team up with somebody, talk it out diplomatically, or just go into a full-on brawl. Let's look at the square tower. Now, I would think Sue gets Gwen to safety, so they're both safe. Zola and Catherine follow. Diane tries to take on Ben and gets killed for Mads. Kenji tries killed for her efforts. Gets killed for her efforts. While Zoe takes on Kenji. However, However, Ben tries to take on Kenji as well, but almost gets injured. But when Kenji tries to go for the killing blow on Ben, Zoe sacrifices her by pushing herself and Kenji off the edge, causing these characters to die in the first round. Players, you are eliminated. Now let's get on to the Triangle Tower. Let's get on to the Triangle Tower. Now, Gwen once again gets to safety on the last tower, but when Zola tries to get herself to safety, she is killed by Ben when she tries to run, causing her to fall in this game. However, before Ben could take on the other players, or even Sue trying to do anything, Emily kills in retaliation, pushing him off the edge with a surprise attack. Then Emily and Catherine go into hand-in-hand combat. But given Catherine's ruthlessness and her ability to lose all sense of love and hope after sending her husband to his death, she easily outdoes Emily and pushes her off the edge. Players, you are eliminated. Players, you are eliminated. Sorry about that editing. Finally, we've got the Circle Tower. And of course, finding them off, it would be Catherine versus Sue. They easily take them out, with Gwen trying to stop them both. But of course, her psychic powers not being, easy enough to try and stop them. So, in order for them to stop fighting each other, for the point, and Catherine Catherine tries to take the easy blow on Sue, accidentally killing Gwen when she tries to save Sue. And Catherine has no choice but to push Gwen off the edge. Player, you are eliminated. Now it's just down to 2 players. Let's move on to the final round, Squid Game. Well, it's pretty much head to head, a battle to the death. The last one standing out of the 118 players is the winner. And here we have the last 2 players, Catherine from Black Bag and Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four. And given out their play out, Catherine would resort to hand-in-hand combat to try and tower Sue, who says she doesn't want to use her powers unless she has to. And when that utterly doesn't work, Sue sadly has to resort to using her powers to push her back, asking Catherine if she's ready to give up. And despite having no chance, Catherine tries to keep going. But realizing her luck, she easily dies out, making Catherine the runner-up, which means Sue Storm is the last one standing in this Squid Game. Congratulations to Sue Storm and the Fantastic Four. Hope you use the money for you and your family. Trust me, you're gonna need it. And that is my first Squid Game. I cannot believe it's taken me this long. All the hard work was great. So, I hope you like this, because I'll be doing another one in a month's time. Not sure what it is yet, but I'll get to it. So, give me a thumbs up, like and comment, subscribe. I hope to get more videos out like this. Speaking of which, tomorrow, I'll be looking at The Legend of Korra, Book 1, Chapter 6, and the winner is. Keep an eye out for that video. Until then, I'm the Shadow Reviewer, signing off.